What's up, everybody? Absolutely stoked to welcome you, our guest today. Absolute legend in the football community. Not only did he dominate for the University of Utah last year, just an incredible human being, and also made a big splash this offseason by not only transferring, but transferring to an in state rival. Gonna be awesome to dive into some conversation with my man, Keanu Tanuvasa, here in the house today.
Appreciate that, Ben. I'm grateful to be here, man.
My man just got engaged.
Yeah.
So he's making big moves outside of football. What a time to be alive, man.
It is. It's a great time to be where I'm at. I'm in a great situation. I'm blessed more than just on the field. I got amazing family, good fiance, good friends, people to be connected to. So I'm living a great life.
Man, that's something, as we dive into this, I hope people, I hope everyone's going to come and cheer you on. Absolutely cheer for you. But I hope they cheer for you more of like the life, just of who you are as a human being. I think when I met you the first time, I was like, man, that dude was so dope. And it wasn't even about that you play football. You know what I mean? Like I'm very fortunate and very blessed to work with a lot of different athletes at a lot of different levels. And I obviously knew who you were. Worked with Utah guys a lot, and then I work with BYU guys a lot. I used to see my man at Vasa all the time. I never went and talked to him because he's like a big dog. So I was like, I stayed away from seeing him at Vasa. But, just meeting you and talking to you, I was like, man, that dude is different. And just how you hold yourself, how you operate is just different. And I hope today on the show people can see that side too. So let's bring it back now and get to this point. But you're playing high school. Did you grow up always playing football? Tell us little bit about you, man.
Yeah, so my background, we're from the Inland Empire in California. Little place people start to know now. It's called Chino Hills. Okay. Ball brothers are from there. Yeah. Born and raised there. Me and my siblings, we played just about everything. We had a little bit of rugby, soccer. Football was definitely the main sport. Right. But I think all those sports play into each other. So growing up, we was just a group of rambunctious kids. There was 4 or 5 of us. Yeah. 4 of us initially, and my little brother. I say 5 because he came later. But all of us, you know how it is, competitive sibling rivalries.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so growing up, you're at. I mean, California is obviously there's a lot of talent and a lot of different sports. Even from a young age, there's a lot of good kids in a lot of the youth programs and things. So did you always play youth football, or kind of how did that, when did you start realizing that it was a little different for you? I mean, obviously to make it to the collegiate level, you kind of have to be at a different level. You know what I mean? Like, sure. Everyone has the goals and aspirations to get there, but like it's a little different. I feel like at some point it starts clicking and you're like, I could actually maybe go do this.
Yeah.
When was that for you?
If I'm being honest, it wasn't very young. It wasn't until really in high school. I think I developed the good habits when I was a young kid, but it wasn't until my high school career that I was like, man, I can take this to the next level. Yeah. I think there's some kids that they got it, down in that little grade, Pee-wee football. They're little kids and they're running over kids, and I wasn't that kid. I was bigger bodied. Right. But I don't think I had full control because I was so big.
Yeah. I was trying to figure it out.
Exactly. I was moving around and I was like, man, I don't know how to use this big body of mine.
But I'm here.
Yeah. And so going forward, I was taught the skills to work hard. I could play, I could get the job done, but I wasn't a complete standout. Right. I was a big body. It wasn't until my sophomore, junior, senior year in high school that then I started to develop into my body. I started to feel more comfortable. Then all those years of sustaining hard work, even when I wasn't the man, was able to shine through when I became more comfortable with who I was. Right. And then it was, okay, I don't have to fall in line anymore. I don't want to just fall in line. I want to be me, and I can step up. I can be the man on my team in high school. I can have this role as they look to me, and ever since then, I've tried to never look back.
Which, I mean, you hit it perfectly, man. I think, there's so many different types of leaders, right? Like there's leaders that are kind of like the rah guy that's like, let's go, always talking. And then there's the guys that are like showing up at 5 a.m. for, a 6 o'clock workout, right? And doing the extra stuff. Also being that vocal leader too. But it sounds like, when you were there, you started figuring it out, and then you're like, like people are looking to me as this example, and like, I got to be that. I mean, so when you're playing high school ball, how was your recruiting process? Was it pretty crazy? Was it pretty, how did that go about?
So the recruiting process, I think, is completely different for everybody. I mean, so some guys are gonna be, highly recruited. Some guys aren't gonna be highly recruited. Some guys have to fight. Some guys take the JUCO route, and regardless, again, it's all your drive, your personal intent of what you want to be. And so from that, but for me, I was blessed. I got looked at by, I think, 20 plus colleges by my junior year, senior year. I was getting recruited, and that was just, to me, the dream. That was the dream. It was, man, this is what I've worked for ever since I was a little kid, was to play for the collegiate level. Because that's then the pathway to the ultimate dream of playing in the NFL. And so that recruiting process was difficult. It was something that I had to, work through and figure out, all these colleges calling me out, doing certain things, asking me to come visit their program, and you're a high school kid that's getting thrown into this world. And you're like, man, I wanted this, but I wasn't ready for this. So having my family and my people beside me, the people that understood and had greater wisdom than I did, that was the necessary movements in my life that have set me on this path to where I am today.
Which, like, I mean, you said it so perfectly. Like, growing up, right? Like, so I played basketball, and I remember getting my first letter, and I was like, well, bro, this is like I made it. Like, this is the dream, right? And then you start realizing, like, oh, dude, like, now I gotta choose. And then it's like, okay, what school makes sense, right? What school program makes sense? What do I want out of my degree, or what do I want? Kind of teammates. I got to find a girl. So, like, where do I want to go to find a potential wife, right? Like, things like that. Those things start going in your mind, right? And I'm like, so you're getting recruited from all these big time schools. You're getting recruited by all these different schools. I mean, what was like big things that you were like, like, I don't care about the logo. I don't care about the brand. These things I have to have at the school. You know what I mean? Because obviously you ended at Utah, which we'll get there. But like, what was things that you were like, these are just non-negotiables. Like, I gotta have these things.
I love that. I don't think a lot of people actually break it down to that it's not about the logo, it's not about the price tag, and it's not about the reputation.
Wait, it's not?
Yeah, no. Well, just you talking right before I get into that is, there's a quote that I heard, and you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And so your goals could be playing for a certain brand, a certain logo, a certain amount of money, but ultimately that's not what makes you you. What makes you you is your systems, your core values, like you mentioned. So for me, those core values, first and foremost, is God always. I got to be in a place that I feel I can choose to follow my faith. I can choose to listen to God, to be around people that don't have to be of the same faith, but at least respect my decision to choose what I want. So that was first and foremost. Second was definitely life after football. The game slows down, the game ends. You can't play forever.
Yep.
It's
Sometime you got to hang them up.
Exactly. The cleats get hung up, and eventually, what type of suit do you want to be wearing after that? And for me, that's a big decision, because I don't want to be working a 9 to 5. And so understanding a university that can help develop me, my brand, my connections, my opportunities, and my education, that was critical for thinking about. And then third, I like that you mentioned that was the same thing for me, was finding someone that I would spend the rest of my life with. It's not to say that I had to find her in that college period of time, but at least I'd be in a greater environment to realize that was a place that someone of the typical standard that I wanted would be there.
Could be there, right? Yeah. I mean, if you're trying to find the type of girl you want, but you're going to the opposite places, probably not going to find a girl you want. You might find somebody, but it might not be the one you're wanting, right? So dude, that's so cool, because like, I think, like, especially nowadays, right, with NIL, the realm of, the realm of NIL is so skewed anyway. It's not really a name likeness image anyway. It's pretty much pay to play. Like, it's just, that's what it is. But I think, like, and that's why some of those people get lost in the portal, or they get lost at the universities, because that's what they go for. Where if you have your core values of, hey, this is what I want, regardless of the football aspect, regardless of anything else. Like, I want a, potential career post football. I want a potential wife, whatever it is. I want better friends. Like, those are the types of people that actually thrive, not only in their own career, but thrive in their life, right? And I think, like, it just goes to show kind of how you propelled where you're at. And so Utah was the choice. Utah was the option at that time at a high school and then you went on mission, right?
Correct.
Okay. So was that right out of high school?
Yeah, I went straight out of high school.
How was that, like, choosing? I mean, obviously getting recruited by so many schools. Obviously Utah knows about the church. They're like, okay, yep, you're good to go on one. We're not going to trip. But, like, how hard was that as a kid? Because like when I was 18, bro, and I went on my mission, I was like, bro, I'm gonna go hoop. Like I don't need to go on a mission. My mission will be hoops. And then God laughed and said, you're going on a mission. But how was that experience for you?
It was very, I would say it's pretty similar to you in that, all growing up, you're like, yeah, I'm going to serve a mission.
Yeah, when you're singing the "Hope They Call Me on a Mission" when they're young, dude, it's easy, easy choice.
Yeah.
And then you get 18, and you're like, wait, I can make choices for myself. Like as far as like, and like not choice for yourself, because I feel like I always was able to choose. But like you were like, yo, like it's actually up to me.
Yeah.
And so then you're like, man, is it wrong if I go? Is it wrong if I don't go?
Yeah.
And now you start thinking,
Yeah.
and so
When you realize that you're wanted for what you've paid the price to be. You in basketball, me in football, other people, you worked your butt off all throughout childhood to go for this dream. And then you're like, actually, every hour that I put in for this dream, I'm going to just set aside for 2 years.
Yeah.
That's a hard decision.
big time decision.
Yeah, because you know what your end goal was. And now, mind you, that doesn't mean that all of those other hours that you were spent going to church, attending young men's, those things, you still valued God. But now you realize, man, there's a decision to be made. And so for me, that decision was similar to yours in the aspect of it was ease in my mind to be like, I'm going to serve. And then by the time I realized, man, all of my training that I put in is going to be put off for 2 years to go serve God and to go give back to him. Am I going to be guaranteed when I come back? Am I going to be the same player when I come back? Right. Am I going to have the same tenacity? Is my body going to, am I going to lose weight, gain weight, whatever the case may be?
Right. Where am I going?
Yeah.
It's not like you get to choose where you're like, okay, yeah, cool. I'm stateside. I'm going to chill. Because there's guys that, they go to the Philippines, bro. Like, they have no options.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I mean, great point.
That uncertainty is difficult to deal with for sure. But I think, now having made the decision and looking back, it was definitely something that was necessary and I'm grateful for because it's only set me on a greater trajectory than if I didn't do that.
Absolutely. And that's how I look at missions so maybe different than most. Like, I'm like, dude, like, there's guys that are like, that was the best 2 years of my life. Like, and I'm like, dog, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, my mission was cool and I had a lot of cool experiences, but like, that's not the best 2 years of my life. Getting married, doing what I'm doing now, like, man, that's been the funnest times of my life. But like, those were the best 2 years for my life for sure. Like, those prepared me. They like taught me a lot of life lessons that I never would have probably learned. Because I probably wouldn't have been humble enough to listen. But like, dude, when you're 18 and you're out there and you're knocking on doors and no one cares about what you say, and you're just like, why am I here? And you really have to really like trust someone else, right? Because like, I think when it's all in your hands, it's easy because it's like, all right, man, like, I know where I'm going. They want me to be here. I could just go play football. It's the easy, not easy because it's still hard, but it's like exactly what you're getting into. Right. Where on a mission, man, every day is different. You don't know what kind of companion you're getting. You don't know what kind of area you're in. You don't know what kind of mission president you have. You don't know what kind of like place you're going. And so like that unsureness is just so tough. But like I think that's where like a lot of that faith is built because you're able to really rely on something that's way deeper. And it's your true faith of like Jesus Christ and whoever whoever you want to believe in. But it's like when you have that kind of belief, I think that's what's going to separate you as you progress in life because you're going to be like, you know what, I might not play right away when I get back, but there's going to be a bigger cause and there's going to be a bigger purpose of what I'm doing. And I think as you figure that out, your life temporal things become really understandable. I wouldn't say easy because easy is the wrong word, but it's able to understand it more. You can go through harder things because you just kind of naturally say, okay, like this isn't an end all be all, And so you come back from your mission, you get to the U. How was that experience coming back to the U?
It was great. It was humbling. You leave high school and you're the man.
You're the man. School. Like, you're the coolest thing ever, dude. You're getting offers, you're big time, and then you get to college and you're like just another guy there.
I'm just joining the team off of mission, And you're still younger. I mean, you're older because you're 20 years old now, and so you're not a complete young freshman as an 18-year-old coming in. But you got 23-year-olds who are playing your position. They've been doing this for 5 years out of high school now, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this guy is ginormous. Right. I'm a big dude, but I'm not in the weight room lifting what he's lifting. I haven't touched a weight in a year, 2 years. Yeah. I was hitting my push-ups on the mission, but man, I don't look like that. Yeah. I'm 30 pounds lighter than what I should have been at the time, and all of these things, and so it was awakening and humbling to realize that there was still so much room for growth coming home from a mission.
Yeah.
But then it was also invigorating to realize, okay, now I get to climb again.
Yes.
Now I get to see how much better can I be? How much can I give to this game? I've learned all these good habits before the mission playing football, right? Then I've learned and understood what real life is about by being on the mission.
Yep.
Aside from football, that football, when it's out of my life, I know how to be me.
Yes.
Now, can I combine the two of them and be driven for that force at a different level now? And that was me when I came home, and now, I'm able to reap a lot of the benefits of the price that I paid.
I've been watching him cook people for like last like 10 years, I feel like. So I'm sitting here watching y'all's D line just cook, dude, and I'm like, I just hope like he goes to the league next year, just so I don't have to watch him. Flash forward a little bit, couple more months, boom, you're in the portal, and it went crazy because like big time leader there, big time figure there. Now you're in the portal. How was that kind of experience? Like, after you had, I mean, obviously it wasn't the year that Utah wanted to have in the Big 12. Right. You guys have had phenomenal years in the Pac 12. You come into the Big 12, new kind of everything. What kind of was going through your head as you processed that kind of phase of your life?
Um, it was, I mean, yeah, that was a rough year to be a part of. But my time at the U was well spent. I loved my time, but definitely that was not the way that we wanted the season to go, nor the way that when you put in that many hours, you want to feel that at the end of the year. Like, man, we just went 5-7. Right. We didn't even make a bowl game. Like, that's such a terrible feeling, and it has nothing to define the guys or the coaches or the system over there of their success. Right. But you have to know how to lose in order to know how to win and to enjoy the success of winning. And so that process of having that reputation over there and being able to gain a lot of those people's favor and honors and trust was a blessing. Yeah. And I loved my time over there, and I'm extremely grateful. And that's why I think, now being where I'm at BYU is definitely just continuing to not have any slowed momentum of who I became there. It's now, can I just transfer who I was there over here as well? Not to lose any stature, any opportunities to lead. Obviously I still want to earn the trust and respect of my new team, right? Of being a part of BYU, but I still want to be the same man that I've always been, because that's who they recruited me to be. They didn't want me to just come, and I'm still falling in line and being humble and working with the team. But they also recruited me to come and to lead and to have an attitude of, this is how we win and this is what we do.
Absolutely. And I think that's a misconception of recruiting, right? Like, people, like, even on a mission, like, I was like, man, like, I would go out there and people would be like, oh, dude, like, you can't act that way. And I was like, bro, like, I'm sorry, bro, but that's me. You know what I mean? Like, I'll get better, and you learn, to follow the rules, and you got to do X, Y, Z. But like, God called you to be there in that area for that time with your personality, with your weaknesses, with your strengths. And same with college coaches, man. They bring you in for whatever reason beyond just being you. Like, it's like, man, they want you to be in their system, but you within that too, so you can carry their system up, and then you elevate yourself too, right? Because when it's one way, when you have to come in here and change everything to be just there and be a puppet, it ain't gonna be nice for you. You're not gonna like that. And no one would. And so as you progress and they progress, it's a growing thing, right? I like to call it a hand up, not a hand out, right? Like, no one wants like, at least me, like, I don't want a hand out. I'm not the type of person that wants a hand out, but like, dude, a hand up is dope, because like, we're growing together. Let's do it. You know what I mean? And so it's interesting. So we're gonna talk briefly about it, but like, so, right, kind of the season ends. Obviously, you're a big leader at the U. You're a big leader there. You have a dope Instagram video, and you're talking to the team. It's not about you. I've showed my sophomore teams it. Like, I love it. Like, I love everything about it. But I have an interesting take on it. I actually don't have the traditional take of like, why would you post that and then leave? I have a thing of like, that just shows who you are, and people saw a glimpse of who you are as a leader. I think for me, like, I don't think there's a wrong time or right time to post that. I think you didn't post that in the sense of, hey, I'm going to stay here. This is what it's about. I think you were just saying, bro, like, these are my dudes. We went to battle. I've been here this long. I love these dudes. I love being a leader. I'm like every day about it. And I think people saw a glimpse of who you are. And I think it was portrayed as a way different thing. But that's just my hot take on it. I think it's like more of a, hey, you posted it in the sense of like, dude, like, hey, we just went to battle with these dudes. Because like you said, man, like, I mean, obviously, yeah, you didn't go to the bowl game. You had a 5-7 year, wasn't optimal. But like, you still had to put in work every single day. You still had to go to work every day. You still had to get, beat up every day in practice. You still had to take, all these different hits, and you still had to show up, right? And you still had to show out every day. And so I guess like in your mind as a leader, at that time, did you know kind of you were leaning on the fence of leaving, or was it kind of like, and not even about the video, was it more so like, when was it in your head that you're like, maybe there's other opportunities for me, not only about football, but like for my life?
Yeah. I think at the time of that video being posted, right, what we learn in the church and from God is, when you're faced with a difficult situation, you take a step of action, a step of faith. And I was battling through figuring out what was right for me. And so I wanted it to be staying at the U. That's what I wanted. And so part of that post, I like your take, and part of that post was that it was, let me just express how much I've enjoyed my time. And there was still the part of it that is, okay, I'm going to come back, even though within myself, I wasn't sure. Right. And so that's why it caused a lot of controversy, a lot of people's opinions,
Which at the end of the day, dude, even if you got up there and were like, hey, I'm leaving, people would still be pissed. Right. So at the end of the day, you're still going to make waves, like regardless. Exactly. So like, I mean,
you do something good, people are going to judge you and say stuff about you. And you do something bad, people are going to judge you and say something about you.
Right. So that's why my take's a little interesting, because I think it was more of like a leadership post. And I think sometimes there's a Mormon message. So I'll be a quick little out of myself. I was not good. Shout out to my mission president. I was not the best studier in the mornings. Shout out all my companions. They had to deal with a lot of bullshit. But like, something that I did was I watched a lot of Mormon messages. And there's a Mormon message called Wrong Roads. And they both feel good about it. And it's a dad and a son. They're driving a truck. And they drive down this road. But they felt so good about it. They get down the road, and it's a dead end. Sometimes you have to go through something just to understand that that's not the path, right? And I think like kind of like, and maybe I'm wrong here, but obviously you wanted to be at Utah. You wanted to feel that. But at the end of the day, dude, God had another route for you. Yeah. And at that time, maybe he didn't express that yet. You didn't know it yet. But in that moment or whatever, and throughout the year, because, obviously every day at practice, you're not thinking about that. You're ready. You're still playing hard, dude. At that BYU game, bro, you're still giving it to them. Yeah. Like every game you played, you were just bringing it to whoever is in front of you. You know what I mean? So I don't think it was like okay, I'm going to check out after one game and I'm going to transfer. You know what I mean? It was still like, hey, I'm battling. God had just a different plan for you that you didn't even know about yet. You know what I mean? So it's like, how can you be mad at a dude for wanting to do something where his path was just different and he didn't even know about it? Right. That's why my take is a little hot, because it's not the traditional face value of just a typical fan. Yeah. And I think that's why there's really good couch fans. For sure. Because like they just talk on the internet and they want to say what they want to say. But, you have that experience. Then you go in the portal. How was the portal? Did you kind of at that point know where you wanted to be at, or was it still, okay, let's see what's going on here?
Yeah, I think I don't think there was a general understanding of where I wanted to be at. I think there was just an understanding of there's opportunities for me to grow somewhere, right. And I related this to a couple people that I've talked to, and it's like, Abraham and Isaac, when Abraham had his son, man, God asked him to put his son on the altar. Right?
Big time request.
Just for him to then say, okay, actually, I just wanted to see where your heart was.
Yeah, see if you would do it.
Exactly. And so for me, it was, maybe this was a Abraham and Isaac type of experience, that he wanted me to enter the portal and then return to the U. Right. And sometimes it's more of a Nephi experience. And it's, I'm actually going to lead you down a different path. Right. Or a Moses, that I want you to actually go and make a difference to your people as opposed to the life that you've been living. Or Joseph of Egypt, all of these men that I looked up to and read about, that we know these stories. That's similar to my story, in that I didn't exactly know where my next destination was going to be, but I knew that if I did it with God, that it would be exactly what I needed. And so joining the portal, entering that, there's, it's a hectic time of your life. Crazy time.
Especially now, right? Because like you, at this point, you're already established. It's not a high school gamble anymore, right? Like, I mean, obviously, as a kid, you were obviously really good in high school, and you got what you got because of your talent and things like that. But now it's, dude, they're coming to get you because you're a big asset and you're already established. You're a leader. Everyone's like, dude, we got. I remember, dude, my phone blew up. Dude. It was like, bro, we got to get this dude to BYU. We got to figure out a way to get to him. I was like, yeah. I'm gonna be the cause, dude. I'm gonna DM him, and he's gonna come because of me, dude. No, I was like, bro, like it's cool, but I hope he does, And so then you commit to BYU.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that? Obviously, I've read kind of and talking to you. You and Kalani have a pretty good relationship, and Kalani is probably one of the coolest dudes. Like, I mean, I got to get to know him this year and talk to him and just who he is, and man, I think anyone that knocks on, like, it's not even about football, bro. Like, as a human being, I think anyone would be honored to be just played for him just because of the type of man he is.
Yeah.
Because he truly goes to bat for his dudes, and he generally wants them to be just good human beings regardless, right? Because NFL, like, a lot of them, like, I was talking to his mom actually at the ASU game, and his mom's like, some of these guys, they might not go to the NFL, but every one of them is going to be a dad or a son or a brother or a friend. They need to be good men, and I was like, dang, man. And so that's what made me so my little brother's on a mission. He's coming home in April. I was like, dude, I can't wait for you to get back. Just to be in the locker room, bro. And then you signed there, and I was like, bro, you're going to be mentored by a dude that's going to be this is going to help you so much because you got, this room is just going to be cool. And so I'm just excited for, obviously, selfish reasons as a fan and things like that. But, also excited for you as your progression and things like that. But I went on a tangent there. But so how you get to BYU, how has that been? How, from going there, committing there to where it's at now with being at BYU?
I think the initial commitment and first week was, definitely still, just because you follow God doesn't mean you're completely certain with what you're doing.
Right.
It doesn't make the path completely easy.
Right.
And so as I tried that, that first week, man, I was like, oh my goodness, did I make the right choice? I'm living in a house by myself. I have friends on the team, but I haven't been around them in a while. So I'm still trying to develop those relationships and build new ones.
And at that point, dude, I mean, there's a lot of love between the two when you're not playing. Yeah. I'm a firm believer of that. I think it's worse between the fans than the actual players. Yeah. And it drives me nuts because I'm like, these fans are like, yeah, dude, we just hate each other. And I'm like, dude, there's actual homies that are hanging out the next week after the game. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I mean, how is that, right? Because you're at BYU now, but obviously still have, homies and brothers on that team at the U, but also, trying to gain your new friends and homies there. And you obviously were dominating them when you were playing them. So it's how is that, balancing that, bro?
Yeah, it's definitely, I think the nice thing is, when you put that helmet on, you can become something else. You can become the player that you want to be. Right. And when it comes off, I can go back to being Keanu Tanuvasa, who, loves guys, who cares for people genuinely, who doesn't care what uniform you wear. Right. When the helmet's on, I care what uniform you wear. If you're in my way, you're in my way. Right. But if the helmet's off, man, I'm still going to love. I'm going to create, and when the helmet did come off after that game when we lost, it was still, I knew guys on their team, and they had walked up to me, and I said hi, and I appreciated them and was grateful, and I congratulated them on, the season that they'd been having and they continued to have. And so it was a lot of accommodation because at the end of the day, football is a boys' game. Right. That's something we play as little kids that we're blessed to play now and get paid to play.
Yeah, back in the day, recess, dude. I mean, everyone runs out there to play football. And it's definitely, I like that. It's a boys' game. I mean, it really is. It's just at the end of the day, you're all just boys. You know what I mean?
That's the reality behind the game. And so when that helmet comes off, I can still be friends. I might still be feel that little sting of loss. And I'm still, when I go back in the film room, the helmet's not on, but I have to learn how to grow, figure out how to be better, recognize my mistakes, and build on my strengths.
And I'm sure at that game, you're probably pissed because we won't dive into it. Yeah. Could have been a sack to win the end of the, you know what I mean? That's a sack that wins the game and it's a little different outcome. Yeah. You know what I mean? So as a player that, regardless of what the ref calls, regardless of the outcome, you still go shake their hands. You're still, you can feel that frustration, but you still choose to say, like, it's bigger than football. You know what I mean? And again, touch back on it, man. That's the type of dude that you are, and I think that's what makes you so special. Is just like there's a lot of dudes that won't do that. You know what I mean? And I think that's the sad part of the game of how it's going. But it's like you had every right to be pissed about that. Not talk to any of them. Not go and high five anybody. I mean, you make a phenomenal play. Have Jake Redslip in the end zone, thinking it's over, and everyone looks over and there's a yellow flag on the field.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Like, I mean, so that's big time that you did that. And I mean, yeah, I mean that's just big time, bro.
It's definitely something that has taken time to become. In high school, I can't say I was the best at wanting to congratulate people after we win.
For sure.
Yeah. Still a young, immature kid developing that, but. That's the nice thing, again, going back to now being at BYU, is the culture there is very similar to how I try to hold myself to standards. Is we're gonna play passionately, we're gonna play aggressively, we're gonna give it everything we got when our helmet's on. But when the helmet is off, it's can I still be a representative of the Brigham Young University, of the culture of Christ, of trying to still care about individuals beyond the game, beyond the field. And that's what I love now being down at BYU. They still had that at the U. It's not to compare. People sometimes
think, everyone just compare and contrast. It's like, bro.
Yeah. Just because I'm complimenting one place doesn't mean I'm diminishing another. Yeah. I can still respect both programs and be grateful for where I'm at without people having to take down the other place.
I go to a game and I might be standing on the field. Oh my gosh, I have all these connections. That's not what it's about. It's about like the people that I have the connection with that allow me to be there. Yeah. And as you do that, that's what's good. That's when all the other stuff comes with it, right? That's when all the other byproduct comes, right? But the product is the everyday showing up for those people. Yeah. And so I'm so glad that you touched on that in the way you did. But before you leave, man, I got a gift for you from our sponsor, Dunk Cookies. They're the best cookies ever. They're super smooth. It's like a sneaker shop built set up in there, and so I'm going to take you there, but I got you a box, so I'm going to give you a box real fast.
Appreciate that, man.
All right, man. So like I said, I got you a box of cookies, Dunk Cookies. So I'm a big sneakerhead, bro. I love their aesthetics. And they got, you got to flick it up, man.
That's cool, man.
Don't worry, I didn't get you 5C shoes. It's all good. It's the start.
I was about to say.
It's the starting 5. So you got, a lot of cookies that they did my favorite cookies in there for you. Super stoked for you to try it out, man.
I'm looking forward to it. It's legit. I'm a sneakerhead too. I'm wearing, but this is a cool box to buy cookies in.
I mean, yeah, bro. You can't get better than a sneaker box for cookies.
Nah, it makes it more enticing now too to want to buy some cookies.
No, absolutely. We're gonna tap you in, bro. But hey, appreciate you hopping on the podcast, man. I hope everyone that is cheering on BYU, cheering on Utah, whoever you're cheering with, one dude that you can always cheer is my man right here. You know what I mean? Like, just who he is and what he represents is a lot bigger than football. And so make sure you're tapping in, following him on his social media channels. Make sure you're tapped in for the whole year. Like, comment, subscribe. Again, appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming, man. And let's go have a good year again.
Right.
All right,
let's
bro.
do it.